guys, today we're making this boho style clutch. We'll be using this placemat, a piece of fabric for liner, zipper by the yard, and iron-on interfacing. I found this placemat at the thrift store for only $1, so this is going to be the shell or outside of my clutch. I'm going to fold it over in thirds. There's different closures you can use on clutches, but I'm going to be using a zipper, and we're going to be using this fusible iron-on interfacing. So first we start by cutting out a piece of fabric. This is going to be our liner, so it's just slightly smaller than the shell of the clutch, and this is the fusible iron-on interfacing. It's just going to help stiffen up the fabric a bit, so it's not quite so floppy. On one side of the interfacing there's tiny bumps, and that's the side that you iron onto your fabric. We also decided to put a piece on the inside of our shell, though it's not totally necessary, so it's really up to you. Right now we're pinning and hemming the edges of our liner, and so we're just going to hem all the way around all the raw edges. You can find zipper by the yard at just about any craft store or fabric store. So you can buy the zipper and then the pieces separately, like the pulls and the stops separately. They're pretty easy to work with. And so once you get that pull on, I'm measuring out how wide I want my zipper. So I'm going to cut it a couple inches longer than what my actual clutch is. And it's very easy to cut. You just cut right in between the teeth, not directly on them. And whenever cutting zippers, be sure to use an old pair of shears you don't really care about. Don't use your good pair of shears. So right now we have our zipper facing up and we're sewing it onto one end of our liner. And here's what it looks like so far. That's the underneath side of the zipper. Now we're going to flip it over. We're flipping it in thirds, basically, is how we're folding the clutch. And so now we're going to pin that side of the zipper, the underneath side, down right about here on our liner. So we're going to pin the ends. With the ends secure, we open the zipper and continue pinning. And then we're using our zipper foot to sew the rest of the zipper into place. And this is one of the zipper closures or stops. This is what stops the zipper from zipping off the end. So all you do with this, it has these little prongs. You press it into the zipper tape. And see those prongs sticking out the back? I'm just going to take a little pair of pliers. These are just my jewelry pliers. And I'm just going to bend those down over the teeth. And then I'm snipping off any excess zipper, any that you don't need. So I'm just leaving a little extra tail here, just enough to be able to stick down inside the purse. So that's how I'm going to finish the ends. And to seal the ends of the zipper tape, I'm just going to take my lighter and run that across the edge, and that just seals it and prevents any fraying. Now it's time to enclose the edges of our liner. So this is going to be the inside pouch of our clutch. And so the zipper ends are going to tuck inside just like that, both of the zipper ends. So right now we're just sewing up those edges, and we're stopping just before we get to the zipper. And here's what it looks like so far. We have the shell of our clutch, and then we have the insert, pouch, and liner all in one ready to go. So we're going to be stitching along here, the top portion, and then we're going to be stitching close the bottom portion of our shell. So it's going to fold over just like this, and we're going to stitch that shell closed right on both of those edges. And then we're going to be stitching the front part of the shell to the inside right where the zipper is. We're using a zigzag stitch to enclose the shell portion of our clutch. So we've sewn both edges, so there's the pouch, and our liner is going to fit right inside that little pouch of the shell. So let me grab that, and then you can see how it's all going to fit together. So it's just going to slip right down inside here. And the next step is to sew the front portion of the shell to the front portion of the liner, right where the zipper is. So right here, that open spot, we're going to be enclosing that. So I'm just pinning it into place, and we're going to be using our zipper foot to straight stitch right along the inside of the zipper. With the bottom part of our clutch completely done and enclosed, now we're ready to finish off the top. So we have the top part of the liner pinned into place, and we're using a zigzag stitch once again. I liked this because it gave it kind of a decorative look, because the stitching was going to be visible on the front part of the clutch. So we're just using that original hem of the liner as a guideline, and we're stitching along that. We're just finishing sewing the liner to the flap of the clutch, and we're all done. This is how the clutch turned out. I love the way it looks. It's very boho. I love how it has that sort of Mexican blanket look to it. I just thought it's so fun, especially with those tassels that the placemat already had. Now, if you want to try this project but you want it to be even simpler, you could actually just sew a basic zippered pouch and then place that as your insert and not worry about doing extra interfacing or lining the flap of the clutch. So you could simplify this down even further and make it really easy. Or if you're not comfortable with sewing zippers, you could actually use a toggle closure or even a magnetic snap. So I hope this gave you guys some ideas for projects that you may want to do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.